Welcome to the Pretty Red ENT Show. It's your girl goddess Naquita, aka Pretty Red ENT. And if nobody told you they loved you today, just know that goddess Naquita, she loves you today. Okay. Guys, and I want to send so much love and light out to the universe. For real. Like, y'all understand. The universe be universing sometimes. Like, well, all the time. But shout out to the universe because, hey. So send some love and light out to the universe. How are you beautiful people been doing? I know the times are getting crazy. You got to understand something. Mercury is going retrograde in Aries. And so is Venus. Look at that communication. Boy, you're going to be having communication styles go crazy. Like a lot of fights might happen during this time, this transit. That's what most people didn't talk about was this highlight, okay? So I just want to say that. But this episode, guys, is about playing the victim. I feel like, I don't know, every time I talk about something, it's like it's either about to come up or it has happened, but you need to identify something. And maybe I might be the piece that you need to identify this. But guys, victimization is a thing, right? And people playing victim is a thing. And it's hard to deal with those people, especially if you healed your victim. Like if you healed your victim body and like you start to take accountability even for things and actions that you might take that might not, you could play victim, but you like, you know what? I did it. I wanted them to fuck around and find out. Okay. Like, yeah. But a lot of times, guys, people play victim and you don't even realize that they're so used to playing victim that they victimize a lot. Right. And it's a crazy thing. So let's just get started. Okay. Let me tell y'all about what happened to me. And I never really thought about this until like I went on vacation and something happened. And I'm like, oh wow. Like this is crazy and nasty work for somebody. I don't really know you, you don't know me, and you're playing victim. At all times. Like, I'm a person where I don't like people who play victim all the time. Like, you gotta have some accountability or take accountability in what you do, or it's gonna be a problem with me and you, right? So, let's talk about it. So, guys, like, the first thing that I would like to say is, okay, let's ask Siri, what is a victim? Hey Siri. Hey Siri. What is the definition of victim?
Victim means a person harmed, injured, or killed as a result of a crime, accident, or other event or action.
Okay, victims of domestic violence. Okay. Hey Siri, what is the definition of victimize?
Victimize means single someone out for cruel or unjust treatment.
So scam artists who victimize senior citizens. Okay. So I want to take that and take this at face value. A victim is somebody who's basically been harmed by a harmful event. According to, Webster Dictionary, it's something that relates to, the passing of something, of like something happened, like victims of domestic violence. They went through a tough thing, right? So a lot of times you can go through situations like, prime example, friendship, familyship, where you have been a victim for a very long time. And sometimes you haven't got rescued or you haven't been rescued, right? Your victim self hasn't been rescued yet. So some of the things and conversations that come out when people do this victim talk, right? Like, oh my gosh, I've been hurt. I had domestic violence that happened to me. And, sometimes people don't take their actions into things that happen during domestic violence situations, right? But the domestic violence situations really be showing people who people really are, right? And just violent situations that has happened to somebody who's been in a violent fight, whatever the situation might be. But you become a victim when people just target you, right? You're the victim once people target you, they do things. So it's like racial hate crimes. So Black people technically are a victim, right? But a lot of times what happens is when you deal with people who have never actually got to be a victim, and then they have a moment to be a victim, sometimes they overdo it in situations. Like, I just gotta tell y'all what happened. Okay, so this kind of ties into what I'm talking about. So I was on vacation and I was like, oh nah, I need to get my hair done. This ain't that, right? And I had plans to go on vacation again this week. But make a long story short, I was like, man, this person's too flaky for me. Like, you know what? I could either play victim and be like, okay, I don't get my hair done because I know that this person plays too much. Or do I go ahead and make other arrangements? And whether or not they play or not, I will have what I need, right? So playing victim would be, okay, I know this person plays too much. I know they do things to me, but let me keep going along with their fuckery, knowing that they're not going to go through. So if something doesn't go through for me, then I have a reason to really be mad at them because I am now yet a victim. Well, you kind of made yourself a victim in there. And a lot of people don't take accountability for their actions, but for real, you made yourself a victim. You knew this person wasn't to be trusted, but yet you still trusted them. And so guess what happened? You fucked around and you found out. That's exactly what happened. You messed around and you found out. And now you're sitting over here, you're sad, you're mad, 2 on the clock. And now you're mad at a particular person when technically you should be mad at yourself because their character already showed you how they act in certain situations, right? So you can either see the victim part of like, you know what, maybe this person isn't a good friend. And you know what? Maybe I should just go on in and move on, right? Instead of like, okay, let me keep trying to be their friend, keep trying to help them. And pretty soon you make yourself the victim. I think it comes to reality to a part where you don't allow yourself to continue to be a victim, right? It's okay to be like, it's not okay to be a victim, right? Like in any situation, but it's okay to accept the things that you cannot change. But it's also not okay to keep going into the same patterns that you had before and it ain't worked at all. So I always tell people like, sometimes you should see the things that people do. They're always the victim in every situation. Like they never have, they have never said it. Well, I kind of did this. I did that. And they're just like, oh, this happens to me. This always happens to me. This and that. It's called a victim mentality. Like they don't know how to not be the victim in a situation, even though they could be the cause of why a situation happens. Some people don't understand that, like, but it's time to realize what's going on. It's 2025 and you're still playing victim, or you allow people to play a victim around you. Sometimes it can come off as insensitive to other people when you're like, you know what, but it happened to you. Get over it. Right? And what that inevitably does, there's two things that this does. One is it helps you realize like, yeah, you know what, it did happen. Get over it. And it helps you not stay in so much in victim mode. But in actual reality, it really helps you become like, I'm trying to think of the right words that I want to say here. What this is helping you do is realize some of the things that you cannot change outside of yourself. But it also takes away from what something happens in a situation when people say that, well, just get over yourself. Well, hold on. Like, let me experience what just happened to me. Let me process this so that way I can go ahead and function the way that I need to function, right? And so a lot of times, like, people say, like, like you can't really dispute a victim, but you can. Like, you can really dispute them because every single time you get in a conversation or an argument with this person, they're going to always come out to be victim. Always. Their story is always about them being a victim and somebody is the villain, right? And I've been telling people, like, it's 2025. I don't care about being the villain in your story. Who made this story? You or I? So if you made this story, then that's fine. But I didn't make this story. So I'm going to go on ahead and whatever role you want me to play, that is the role that will be played in your book. But not in mine, because you have no merit in mine. But guys, like, I don't know. So I want to say that to keep drilling this in, and not just drilling this to a point where it's like, oh, you need to drill this in. Like, no, to a point where I hope that you understand about what people go through and how they go through it, right? Like, prime example, I'm so funny. Like, dealing with certain people, like, I don't know, this person just, you are a victim and you are a bad victim of domestic violence, right? Like, and I get that. But what you're not about to do is play victim to me, and everything happens to you and everybody does everything to you and you don't do nothing wrong to nobody. It's crazy. It's insensitive, right? To actually state that. Like, yeah, like, there are some things that I know that I do to people. They'd be like, man, I just wish that sometimes she didn't have to go the extreme. But baby, that's just the way it rolls in my book. Like, I'm going to come with facts, evidence all the time. That's just what I do. And I'm okay with that. Right? Some people don't. Some people just say whatever and just wing it. And that's fine too, because that sometimes works too. Right? But the thing is really about taking accountability in your actions with your relationships, your friendship, your workship, wherever you're at, is how can we not play victim as much? And like, how can we deal with actually being a victim and realizing, like, hey, maybe what we're doing is kind of like really harmful for ourselves and others. Like, if I'm saying, okay, I know this job hasn't been paying me what I want, but I'm still going to stay even though they don't treat me good and I'm not getting paid right. Now, here you go being a victim, talking to people, telling people, well, my job sucks and this and that. And you're not getting up out of the situation to help you not be the victim. I'm going to have to start looking at you like you are actually the villain. And when you point that out to people, sometimes people don't like that, guys. Like, I'm just throwing that out there. When you shoot the shooter, when you shoot your shot at that person, you say, well, hey, you don't like your job. They're not paying you enough. Oh, your boss isn't nice to you? Why? Why do you stay? Like, there's no way that you should stay somewhere and be the victim for that long. So you've been at your job. They haven't been treating you right in 5 years. And you think that that is okay, that you are at a job for 5 years where they don't treat you right and they're not paying you the correct money. But you want to feel like you're the victim in the situation, when technically, if you didn't like anything they was doing, you should have got up and left. It be the little things that people don't realize, like, that make them, like, they don't know that they're in a victim mentality state. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so hurt. I'm in this hurtful situation, which is true. You're in a situation where your job's not paying you, or they need to pay you, and you need to go because they're not treating you right. At this point, when they first transaction happened, when they wasn't treating you right and you didn't get the raise, what should you have done? You should have got up out of there because they wasn't giving you what you wanted. You should have not stayed. You should have left. At that very moment, leave. If something's not the way how you want it, leave. There's nothing wrong with that. And people talk about the Gen Zs and Xs. I applaud them. They're not staying at no job for 20, 50 years, even a year. If you ain't treating them or paying them right, they're out. They're for the fire. They're for the leave. They're for to either get fired or they about to leave. Like, I'm not dealing with that. That's weird behavior. And I applaud them for being like, nah, this is weird. Like, this is weird. We got to go. Like, they're not in a victim mentality. They're not in a victim state. They're not staying there. They're not continuously letting themselves keep getting hurt in the same situation. Like, I don't have sympathy for people who keep putting themselves in this situation. Like, are you serious right now? But see, when you're talking to, in general, guys, like, and I'm not speaking, I'm only talking about this because this is my culture. Where you're talking to like black women or black people and you're saying like, they're not going to understand why you are staying somewhere. Like, this is so just to help y'all out with your understanding with like just really doing. We're not going to understand why you keep putting yourself and placing yourself in victim situations and not holding yourself accountable for being there. Some people don't understand. Like, you have to hold yourself accountable for any actions that you take or do. And you have to be okay with that because you did it. Right. But recognize some of the victim things that you might do that you don't realize happen. Like, prime example, this could also stem from like when you're kids and you have brothers and sisters, siblings, and you're like, oh, and they're like, well, stop telling. Like, dude, these kids keep hitting me. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to fight them. I don't want to hit them, but they keep hitting me. Well, you keep telling, like, because it ain't, what happens is a child don't even get a chance to be a victim when a parent does this. So how does this play out and manifest in real life? You might want to go report someone, but you don't report them because they're not getting in trouble. But instead, the person who's not actually getting the person in trouble or investigating it doesn't investigate. What does this do? This just shuts you down even more for you not to come forth and tell your side of the story, or even just tell because somebody is mistreating you and not valuing and treating you correctly. Why wouldn't you do that? That's all I tell people. Like, you got to make sure that the things that you're doing, the steps that you are taking benefits yourself and you. Like, yes, yourself and you. You need to make sure that you are great at all times. But when you're dealing with the manifestation of like you being shut down, being a victim, it plays out in modern days. It manifests as like, hey, I'm not finna go say nothing because ain't nobody finna. You know, they gonna think all I do is complain. All I do is tell. I don't want to come forth and tell my side of the story. Like, that's what that does when you shut down being the victim, right? So a person who just always victimizes their situations, right? This can stem from childhood. Every time that they come to a parent, they get something like, Mom, this person did something to me. And then here goes mom. No matter if their child's right or wrong, didn't investigate, didn't do anything, their child is right. They're gonna make their child feel like a victim, let their child stay the victim. Don't teach your child how to move forward and not be the victim. But they're just gonna keep just every action that their child takes. And it's like, it's right. Oh, but your child was just sitting over here hitting this child with these blocks over here at the playground, but yet the other child just returning the favor because your child done been the bully. Now they're there hitting this other child. Now this child retaliates. Now you and your mom is blaming this other child for hitting you when you were the one hitting the child. Like, you were a victim. Now, how does this manifest when you get older? Because this is a thing about why people, I'm talking to my people who don't believe in therapy, counseling, anything. About to show you how this manifests, right? Very good example of manifestation with this. You get into a situation, you're in a friend group, right? You have social anxiety, or not even that. Just say like you're in a friend group. Your friend doesn't want to do something. You want to do this. You want this event to be planned. So you plan the event, right? Then now your friend was like, hey, I don't know if I want to do these 3 events. Right? And you're like, I just don't want to do it. But your friend over here who planned this event and she has it all set is like, you know what? Okay, we change it. How about, you know what? If they want to change one more thing, or they want to do something that I don't have on this list, what I'm going to do is create something and make it seem like it's their fault, right? So prime example, because this is so funny because people be like, what? Like, yes. Prime example. A person goes on vacation, right? And you're doing these excursions, and friend doesn't want to do that. Now this friend it's like, you know what? How about you just plan it on your own? Like, that's why I don't want to go with you, because you're so complicated. We can't get anything done. Now, what this friend might go around doing, like, oh my gosh, she's so complicated. We can't get nothing done. So we just cancel the whole trip because she's not answering in the right time. Not realizing this girl might got something going on. But now here you go playing victimizing and blaming this person when they're like, hey, I just don't want to do this, because you might not know. They might not have the money. They might just be in a mood where, hey, I don't feel like talking about this today. Let's talk about this a different day. And so how I feel about this is when you think about the things and how they just move that, this is how this manifests when somebody gets older. It's like they start blaming the person who really didn't have nothing going on besides this person planned a whole trip without another person. And they just like, I don't want to do that. Now, oh, they don't want to do it because I created it. Like, that's some like victim stuff. Like, they just don't want to do it because I created it. Like, what? What is, because you create, what does it have to do with anything about you creating an event? Like, what does this have to do with you? Or if they're in a relationship and all they talk about, well, this person just used me and they used me this, and that. And it's like, but you keep going back over there to get used. Well, no, they just keep using me. So you're blaming them for using you, even though you keep going back over there. That's weird behavior. Like, this is how this shows up, and even in their relationships, guys. This is the manifestation of a victim mentality that got started when they were little. Every relationship they were in, it ended because of the other person. Never any accountability. Like, you know what? Maybe I just wasn't feeling them, and so I just didn't want to be their friend no more. But instead, let's blame it on something so little that this person might have did that you might have accepted before, and they probably thought it was okay, but now it's not because you're a victim. A lot of times, like, people create victim mentality. Or a prime example, because this is a good one too, right here. When people say, oh, well, I don't want to deal with people. I don't want to love right now because my feelings got hurt. I bet before your feelings got hurt, there was the signs there that was showing you this person is acting crazy. They're doing crazy stuff. Instead, you're going to say there wasn't no signs, but yet there was. But yet you keep getting in these same type of relationships, not taking accountability. So now you're saying, oh, well, I just got used, and so I'm the victim. Like, all these people just use me. These people use you because you keep putting yourself in that same situation. What you need to do is take some accountability for your actions and move it on forward and do the things that you need to do. And so I'm at a point now where I now understand, like, with dealing with people that play the victim or in victim mind state, set, whatever. You have an issue that I cannot help. I cannot supply this. I cannot do anything else other than be in a mentality and space where I don't deal with people who play victim that are a victim. I like to deal with people that take accountability for their actions. I don't care who you are. Like, if you did some fucked up shit, if you stand on it, I have to stand with you because you stood on business. And a lot of times people don't understand that, like, yeah, like the reason why some of the people, like, they get recognitions in hoods and neighborhoods and cities and towns is because they stood on business. Like, I'm not going to sit over here and play any games with Sam, Pam, Ham, Tam, but I'm also not about to say, like, hey, I don't even know how to sometimes be a victim in a situation. Because I'll be trying to think, like, okay, maybe did I put myself in this situation? And this is where I feel like, as a Black community, we need work on, is to actually realize when we are a victim and how not to just keep moving forward, to really actually sit and be a victim for a second, to realize some traits that attract attackers or the villains in the story. Like, we need to learn how that happens so that way we can, like, heal right there. But in general, guys, like, I really feel like a lot of times the victimization and victim mentality starts from when you're little. And, like, prime example, there was a girl that was working at Harrison Wendy's with me, and she didn't know how to, like, sweep the floor. And so everybody starts laughing at her, which is something to laugh about. But at the end of the day, sometimes it's not. It's not a cool thing to laugh at people who don't really understand what's going on. But I think what I have learned in this transition, right, is that a lot of times with that girl not knowing how to sweep the floor, are we calling her a victim or a villain? Because you at a job where the manager's telling you to sweep the floor. You don't know how to do it. Now you might feel like she's yelling at you, but if you have been in a victim state where your parents victimized everything that happened to you, what you might say is, she's yelling at me for something that I don't know what I'm doing. This is crazy, right? And the victim mentality that comes with this is like, okay, she's yelling at me. I don't know what I'm doing, but technically you should know how to sweep the floor, especially if you're working in an area, or you should be willing to learn how to sweep the floor. But sweeping the floor is something basic to them. So they're like, why don't you know how to do this step? Now, the victim mentality just feels like they're just pushing and yelling at them, because this is what she can say, like, if she was playing the victim, right? But if she was a person who's like, okay, maybe I am a victim, but I need to take accountability. Like, should I, at 21 years old, should I know how to sweep a floor? Yes. I want to work in fast food, so I can't look at it like my boss is yelling at me. My boss is just wondering why I don't know how to sweep this floor when they're asking me to and I'm not doing it correctly. right? So being a victim will be every time your boss asks you to sweep the floor, even though they're realizing that you're learning, that you're feeling like I'm being attacked because I don't know how to do something. Instead of looking like this is a part of your job and this is what you're supposed to do. And if you don't know how to do it, you're supposed to practice to get better. And the only way you can get better is if they keep asking you to do it. So the more you do it, the more you learn. So there's a different mentality on how you perceive and accept information that helps out with the victim mindset that I feel like where it manifests when you get older, but it's like, how can you heal it? How can you move forward with it? And the main thing to really move out of victim mindset and state is to really give yourself some moments to be a victim. Like, you got to learn how to be a victim in a situation. I would say give yourself no more than a day or two. After that, move forward with grace, but accept what you did right. Accept the things that you cannot change, what you did right and what you did wrong. And then move forward with love. Like, you know what? Maybe I should have learned how to sweep the floor. Like, I'm now upset at my mom and them because they didn't teach me this, because this seems like this is something that all these people here know how to do. And then you got me going in here working, knowing that I don't know how to sweep the floor, which is the first step. And then I would be like, you know what? But I need to learn. And so I can't even be mad about it. So let's see what today has for me. Because a lot of times about being a victim is about people sometimes stay there. And every situation, everything that happens, they are the victim. No matter what happened, they're the victim. Like, yeah, you shouldn't have been over there at the store. Or prime example, when I was younger, like, people could be like, well, you shouldn't have been over there at that party because, you know, they like to shoot and fight. So if they start shooting, would that technically be, I'm a victim? I mean, yeah, like, but them start shooting. I knew I should have went to that party. Like, I know it's dangerous. Why would I go to a party like that? Like, that's me, like, accepting the things that you cannot change. Like, at that point, like, yes, you could be a victim because you could be an innocent bystander. But at the end of the day, should you have been there? Probably not. You probably shouldn't have been there, and that's okay. So, guys, a lot of times I feel like we put humans in general, put themselves in situations that they know that they shouldn't be a part of, or like how they need to move forward in love, right? Or they just put themselves in situations where they are the victim. It's like, okay, like, I know this guy, like, prime example, you know a guy, if you're a woman, or if you're a man, you know a guy / woman who, you know, ain't got all their stuff together. You know that there is nothing that they can do to advance your life, but yet you go over there and you still deal with them. In and out. Oh, let's go out. They want to go out, and all you do is spend all your money. They'll never spend nothing on you. How would you feel? You keep being a victim. You keep going back over there. Like, you keep being around people that you know ain't right. Like, I'm telling y'all, people be, baby, like, what, y'all? You gotta learn how not to be the victim in the situation. Like, yeah, you gotta take that accountability, okay? Take some accountability in your actions and what you're doing. It is okay. But it's not okay to be a victim, but it's not okay to stay a victim either. Heal. Say, heal your victim self. Like, so that way you can understand, like, what you're doing. Why do you keep placing yourself in these situations? And it can be as simple as like a community thing. Like, people be like, how do you touch this on culture? I'm like, prime example. I mean, if you want to use like black people being a victim, how white people use it, well, y'all always the victim when it comes to racism. And we're like, well, it's because y'all keep doing it. Right. And then the thing where black people are trying to change, you know what? Y'all don't like us when we're just around. Like, how about we just go back to segregation because y'all acting crazy. Like, we need to be segregated, but consider equal. Like, leave us the hell alone. We leave you the hell alone because this seems like it worked and it works for us and not y'all. Like, if you feel like we are playing a victim, we're trying to get out. Our only solution is segregation. And so when saying that, I kind of feel like, okay, that's okay. It's okay to say that. People are like, really? I'm like, facts. Because if you're asking me, how will the whole community of black people learn how not to be, well, because we don't really be the victim, but how can we say, you know what, we've been a victim for too long. We need to get some things and we need to change it. How do we change it? We change it by the only thing that might work, that has worked. Right? So I feel like that's a way, like, culture wise and race wise, like, you could actually come out to stop being a victim. Like, hey, like, yeah, we just want people to take accountability. If they take accountability, then we probably wouldn't even be saying nothing. Like, the problem is there's no accountability being taken because there's no recourse. What happens if this happens? You know what I'm saying? Like, this needs to be a thing. So I feel like in general, guys, like, as a whole, if you know that you played victim, and sometimes some people like to play a victim. I know a few people, used to be some of my friends, old friends, they love playing victim. They tell me they love playing victim. They even tell me how they play the games. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so weird. Y'all weird. Why are y'all doing this? I just don't do this. Like, I don't want to get down like that. But I really feel like the easiest thing to teach somebody into how to, like, speak truth is to really be honest, guys. Hold yourself accountable. Stop going in situations and stop doing things that's not benefiting you. Like, you know that you didn't like this person, but yet you still kept being friends with them. You can't even say that you can't even be a victim at that moment, even if they was a bad friend, because how long did you stay? It's like you wanted to be the victim in the story. Like, I'm telling y'all, like, I take accountability. Like, if you're asking me, like, right now, like, with some of the people I used to be cool with and some of my friends, you'd be like, so do you think that you were a victim of being a bad friend, or you were a bad friend to them? Was they a bad friend to you? Here's my answer to that. I would say I blame myself for overextending myself in certain people's lives. I know I shouldn't have been there that long. I know I needed to, like, let go of people who didn't benefit my life at all. That wasn't putting me on the path of where I was trying to go and what I was trying to do. And people who wouldn't just put me in situations like that. But as far as me, I'm going to say I'm going to take accountability because I know that some of these people weren't good people. I kept forgiving them. I kept overlooking the red flags. I kept doing a lot of things that I will not do no more. Like, so as far as me being a victim, I would say I was a victim in a way, but in a way I wasn't. I was really the villain in my own damn story. But see, most people can't say that. Like, yeah, like, bro, I knew they wasn't worth shit. So I wanted to make sure that they knew that I was the realest thing smoking in their life. So when it's all said and done, they gonna miss me a little when it's gone. It ain't gonna be the other way around, which it wasn't, right? And so what I would say would be, I was a victim, but I was a victim where I was victimizing people. Like, oh, yeah, you know, no, honey, no. I know you're not a good friend. I'm out. Like, that's the easiest way to say that. Oh, you're not a good employer. I'm out. Oh, you're not doing the things that you need to do. I'm out. Like, y'all gotta, you know what? How's this conversation benefiting me? You know what? I'm out. Like, I don't even want to be the victim of even having to listen to a horrible story like that. Sometimes, guys, stop being the victim. Like, you have to take accountability in your own story and in your own life. Do you keep putting yourself in situations? Because at that point, you are being the villain. You're not even being a victim. You're being a villain, according to the definition of a villain and a victim. So 12:12 on my clock. 12:12 on my clock. But that's how I feel, guys, about being. And I wanted to talk briefly about it because it was like a theme that popped up over spring break. And I was like, damn, a lot of people need to hear about victim, because I don't think some people understand what victim mentality means and what an actual victim and victimizing means, right? Because people could do that to you. They can make you feel sorry for them all the time. That's being a victim. That's what they do. They crave off that energy. They know that you're going to like save them in their own little story, or save them in something that they put themselves in. Like, oh, you know what? That's fucked up. He did you like that. Or, you know what? That's messed up. She did you like that. Not knowing that this person done went back to this person about 7 million times. Like, knowing that this person isn't healthy for you. They're toxic, but yet you keep going over there, and you want me to feel like you're a victim, but you're not, because you keep going over there. Know your boundaries and know your roles, but also like call yourself out of some weird behaviors or patterns that you might be doing, so that way you can break them. And there's nothing wrong with having great standards for yourself and boundaries, guys. Like, that's the main thing. That if there's anything that I can help with, or say like, this is what I know for a fact is beneficial, this would be that. Okay. So, guys, my question to y'all is, because you know I always leave y'all with a food for thought, is, have you ever been a victim? Do you sometimes put yourself or tell a story where you're kind of the victim? Are you being truthful about the situations that you're putting yourself in? Are you doing victim behavior where they're just like, oh, I'm a victim, I'm going to throw myself into danger, and then I want to say that however it turns out, I just was done wrong? Or are you a person that has been victimized? Like, where somebody has just like, hey, you know, they blame something on you when technically it's really their fault. And they playing victim. So now you have a person in your life that you're trying to tell them like, hey, you're playing victim here. And the way you're doing it just doesn't seem right. Every time something doesn't happen the way that you want it to happen, or somebody isn't doing something that you want them to do, now they did wrong. And they're the bad person when technically you're the bad person. So, like, have you been in that situation recently? Like, and how do you think that you can get out? Like, let me know. Like, guys, hit me up on Snapchat. Y'all know that's where my favorite place to be, Snap. Or hit me up on IG, or, you know, anywhere that I be at the Pretty Red ENT Show. But ask yourself these main questions. Okay, like, how can you help your friends tell them, like, hey, you know what? Sometimes you play victim in a conversation. I really feel like there needs to be some type of accountability, but let me explain it to you. Maybe you can like let them hear my podcast, or you could just say what I said in my podcast, like, and say like, hey, this is how you play the victim. Like, 'cause some people, they don't take accountability that way. They don't realize that they play victim all the time in every story that they tell. But that's because some people, they do know. They like to manipulate. Okay. But guys, let me know how you feel about the episode. You feel me? I did miss y'all. I love y'all so much. But let me know how you feel about the episode, guys. Please make sure that you know that temperatures, times, you know, people might explode, say things that they shouldn't say. You know, it might get serious. And so this is what happens when you got all these planets moving into Aries. And so, guys, be prepared. But thank you for always tuning in. It's happening. And listening to my podcast, y'all. I really appreciate y'all all the time for supporting me. Make sure you follow me and follow my podcast page at the Pretty Red ENT Show.podbean.com, or you go follow me on any platform at the Pretty Red ENT Show. Okay. Let me know how you feel about the episode, but answer my questions. Like, how many times do you play victim in your situation? But yet you want to be a victim, but sometimes people don't let you be a victim. Like, ask yourself those questions and see, like, how can you explore that to heal the victim in you, okay? All right, guys, but thanks for always tuning in. It's happening with your girl, Pretty Red ENT. Thank you for all the love and support that y'all always show me. But okay. But thanks for zooming in, tapping in with the Pretty Red ENT Show. It's your girl, Goddess Naquita, aka Pretty Red ENT.